Hi everyone, my name's Tony Richter, one of the partners at Bastion Consulting. Today we've got with us Scott Van Munster from Mashani, the general manager, and we're going to be asking some questions around automation, skilled labor, and the continued adoption of technology in warehouse operations.
Hi everyone, I'm Scott Van Munster, the general manager of Solution and Sales at Mashani Australia.
So Scott, technology is obviously becoming more prevalent in warehousing operations. What are some of the key factors contributing to this continued adoption?
Yeah, I think there's three things, particularly in the Australian market. Firstly is the price of land. It's widely reported in Australian media how expensive property is.
Yep.
And this is, industrial property makes no escape from that. The second is labour, so cost of labour in Australia and also scarcity of labour in Australia. And thirdly is changing consumer demands. So I think 10 years ago, the e-commerce demand of the Australian consumer was, I'll order something online and I'll get it in a week's time, and that's okay. That demand has completely changed now. I know personally, if I place an order and if I don't get it the same day or the next day, I'll be seeking new suppliers. So all three of those factors have contributed to stress at a distribution centre level, and all three of those factors are pivotal points which cause customers to want to automate. And it's actually the core reason that Australia is, on the bleeding edge of technology and innovation in the automation landscape.
Scott, what are some of the benefits for implementing automation in a warehouse setting?
Yeah, so very simply, Tony, automation improves efficiency of a warehouse. So if you think of a manual operation, around 50% of an operator's time is spent walking to locations or pick locations, which is unproductive travel.
Yep.
So what automation does is it focuses that energy on the productive part of warehouse operations, which is picking or packing.
Yep.
So operators are standing there and goods are being delivered to them, and that improves their efficiencies quite drastically.
Scott, what are some of the fringe benefits that maybe not thought of when implementing automation in a warehouse setting?
Okay, there are other parts to business cases that allow automation to stack up, such as reducing footprint.
Yep.
So with very high industrial property prices at the moment, footprint of the whole solution and the warehouse is very important, and automation plays a key role in reducing that footprint.
In your experience, because you've been in this industry for years, have there been conversations with customers to say you're not ready or it's not the right time? Or if so, how do you manage that conversation? Because it can be difficult around this is the right solution, it's the right time for you. How do you go about having that discussion with a client?
Yeah, we'd never say no to a customer, but it does require an extra level of care.
Yep.
When we start that implementation process. The challenge with working with small and medium businesses is they don't have the level of management in place that are purely across their operations.
Yep.
So, when we're talking to smaller businesses, we're normally talking at an owner level, which is different to talking to the general manager of operations.
Sure.
Who knows everything about that operation.
Yep.
Owners know a lot, but they know a lot about every aspect of that business, and maybe not down to the weeds of detail that we need in the warehouse space. So I think that's where it comes down to, choosing the right vendor for you. You need to make sure that they're set up to educate you and take you on that automation journey with them.
Yep.
And that they have appropriate training and documentation that they can provide to you to guide you on that way to run an effective project.
Scott, if you're a customer who hasn't had experience with automation or technology in a warehouse setting, what are some of the factors or principles they should be considering as they look to get into that space?
Yeah, I think that there's a big leap between manual operations and automation solutions, and that leap is decreasing because products are becoming easier to implement and easier to service and easier to run.
Yep.
But there's still a point that you need to get to with your data integrity, with your IT infrastructure and network that allows automation systems to work efficiently. So a lot of customers stepping up from a manual environment won't have the level of accuracy of an item master or order data that we need to run a automation system effectively.
Yep.
So there can often be kind of in-house projects that help them build up that capabilities in-house to get them to a level that they need to be before they implement these technologies.
Scott, one of the challenges of us as a recruitment business, we do a lot of recruitment in warehousing operations or the design of DCs, whether it be manual or automated DCs, but there seems to be a gap in terms of not only the design side, but also the implementation, execution, and operational side? I know that's a big question, but do you see skill gaps in the Australian market or in the APAC regional market around automation? And if so, what are some of those skill gaps?
Yeah, I've seen a huge skill gap in Australia, and I think the key reason is this industry is still relatively unknown in Australia, despite it being kind of bleeding edge and exciting.
Yep.
The market has grown exponentially over the last 10 years that I've been involved in it, and what that means is the market has outpaced the amount of people that are coming in with skills.
Yep.
There's also a lack of, focus on supply chain in Australian universities and education systems, and that's slowly changing. But the skill gap really focuses around people that are experienced with automation, but also people that can help make automation work. So the things that make a manual warehouse efficient are the same things that make a automation system efficient. So you need your analysts to understand the business, to feed the right things to the automation system to get the right benefits out of it. So there is a degree of skill in making or getting the most out of any automated system or any warehouse in general. And I do see that as a bit of a skill gap in this industry at the moment.
On the design side for automated solutions, there are tertiary education like mechatronics, right? Some of the universities here in New South Wales, Victoria, Australia are teaching, they have those mechatronic programs. Analytical skills around design are important, having AutoCAD and things of that nature. What else, if someone's interested in getting in the design side of automated solutions, should they be focusing on to upskilling themselves or getting into the industry?
Yeah, a majority of people in this industry, certainly on the vendor side and the solution design side, have an engineering background.
Yep.
And that's not to say that we're actually engineering robots, but what we are doing is putting these systems together in a way that suits the customer. And an engineering mindset helps dramatically with that.
Yep.
So we are seeing a lot of mechatronics engineers now. It seems to be the favoured engineering degree out there. And a lot of those mechatronics students have a demand to work with robots.
So Scott, if you're a fresh grad out of uni, you have a passion for supply chain and technology, and especially in the automation space, what's something you would recommend to them to get back into this industry?
Yeah, I think there's a combination of things. You should find a business that is on the bleeding edge of technology, something that interests you.
Yep.
People often say, chase your passions and you'll be okay.
Yep.
And I think, supply chain or intralogistics automation is one of those things where many mechatronics engineers, as an example, would be passionate about if they found themselves in here.
Yep.
So find a business that you're passionate about and a business that has a mentoring program or a manager that has the time to spend time with you and show you the ropes. There's a lot to learn and not a lot of it is documented. Mm-hmm. So you need the people around you to help you support you on that growth journey.
The next wave of talent coming out in supply chain have different demands than 10, 20 years ago in terms of work-life balance and work environments and things of that nature. How would you describe this work environment for the new generation coming into the industry?
Yeah, there's different degrees of flexibility, I guess, depending on the role that you find yourself in intralogistics or supply chain. So if you're in an operational level or customer side, you'll be spending a lot of time at warehouses and you have no opportunity for flexible work. If you're in kind of a sales role at a vendor side, there is a lot of customer meetings, a lot of site visits, but there is general flexibility. And if you're on the implementation side, it's a bit of both as well. There's a lot of flexibility while projects are in the design and manufacturing phase, but when there's commissioning and go live, you're spending months on site at a time. So there's a trade-off in all of those roles. But having the flexibility to do both is important.
Where do you see warehousing automation in 5-10 years?
Yeah, I think it's been an interesting space to be in, but I think it's only going to get more interesting. I think we're at an inflection point in time where there's new vendors entering the market and technology seems to be moving away from traditional fixed infrastructure to more free-roaming robotic technology such as Mashini's AMRs.
Yep.
I think in 10 years' time, we're going to see more and more advanced robotics implemented in the warehousing space, along with AI that helps them drive efficiencies to the next level.
Yep.
I think everyone knows about Boston Dynamics and the robots that they're putting together.
Yep.
And from a futurist perspective, it's almost scary to see. But I do think that robots are going to become more and more a part of everyday life. And the most common application that we see and the most obvious application is in the warehousing space.
Do you see robots eventually picking totes and pallets?
Yes, I do. Yeah, there's numerous vendors out there that are trying it in different ways, and I think it's only a few years away from being, a proper viable solution.
So Scott, Mashani's been here in Australia less than 12 months, new market entrant, right? Obviously a global business, but new to the market here in Australia. For those who don't know the brand, what sets you guys apart? Why would someone be interested in Mashani?
Yeah, so Mashani's been a global company, started in China in 2016.
Yep.
And since then, it's run the same model as most of the other new OEM robotic vendors, where they've set up distributors around the globe,
Yep.
who roughly know their product and try to implement it and design systems. This model works to a certain degree, but actually what Mashani have now seen is a need for expertise in this space and expertise in the regions and countries that they're expanding into. And that's what Mashani Australia is set up to do. So we have a degree of expertise in automated systems, both on the design and implementation side.
Yep.
And I think that sets us apart from other vendors in this space. Not only do we have those expertise, but we are part of Mashani as the global business.
Yep.
So we have direct support and direct inroads into R&D, software, global management, and we can help shape this business and push products in the direction that we need to support customer demands.